Hello there, everybody, and welcome to another very special edition of the Horror Hangout, where we talk about all the things the horror genre has to offer for you, and especially at this very special Fright Fest time of year. We have a lovely chat with people bringing some new scares to your screens, and today I am joined by Lawrence Fowler, the director of upcoming movie from Fright Fest, Grin. Lawrence, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am really well, thank you. Thank you for sneaking a little bit of time. I know we were talking before we went live here that not only are you about to have Grin screaming and screening at
Streaming
Fright
and
Fest,
screening. Yeah, bit of both.
but you're already deep into production of your next movie as well. So I really appreciate you finding a little bit of time for me.
No worries. No, I appreciate being on.
Well, before we dive into Grin itself, let's have the people hear a little bit more about yourself as a filmmaker. Now, nominally, we're given a lot of choices in this life. We could work in any kind of field. We could
Mhm.
work in, even as filmmakers, any kind of genre. What was it about horror that attracted you?
So to begin with, I really wanted to make films that kind of had a bit of a standout quality to them because I was, making films at university, in college, and all these things. And basically, the norm was, you'd use your kind of dorm or something and use what you had. But I was really keen to kind of set our films in locations that were a little bit different, had a bit of a different feel to them. And kind of horror gives you a chance to kind of use darkness and use kind of textured walls and all these sorts of things and interesting creatures and monsters to really do something that's different. And as someone that wasn't kind of a lover of horror right from, like some people love it from the day they're born, it seems, that wasn't me. I came to it kind of in my sort of early teens. It just became something that became really interesting to me, and I felt like it was something that I could do and make something that, like I said, stood out. And I also Andrew Jones. I don't know if you're aware of him, a filmmaker that was in South Wales. Sadly, passed away, but I got to know him a little bit in my early career, and he was obviously making films in the horror genre. And for a young filmmaker keen to essentially make something that has a place, and finds an audience, horror for me was just a really nice natural fit to get my start. That was the feeling, at least at the time. I want to move into sci-fi and things, but over the years, we've really kind of grown into horror and found a real growing passion for it. And audiences seem to respond to what we're doing, so we've just kind of kept along this path and loved every minute of it.
That is really, really great to hear. And you're right, like there are so many people that we speak to that are real dyed-in-the-wool horror fans from some traumatic experience that as a child that could have either scarred you for life and make you terrified of these things, or makes a horror filmmaker out of you. So
Absolutely.
it's really interesting to meet someone who came to it a bit later and still found that same interest and passion, and then has made a career out of it. And you're moving
Yeah,
along with that, and we have a film screening at Fright Fest. You mentioned this would be your first time at the
that's right.
festival, so congratulations.
Thanks.
Um, Before we talk about the film itself, how did it feel getting that confirmation and the news that you'd been selected for? I've not run all the numbers, but probably the UK's largest horror festival,
Yeah.
right?
I believe so. Yeah, I mean, it was absolutely fantastic. I was in bed actually, just lying, and my wife, who's the producer on the films, we're a family business, which I'll probably cover a bit more. But she literally just rolled over and went, "Oh my God, we got in!" And so that was kind of an interesting way to start the day. I didn't know what we got into, and then obviously the idea of it's Fright Fest was fantastic. But yeah, no, it's a festival I've been aware of for many many years. It's the obviously, like you said, the first time we're part of it, which is fantastic, and I can't wait for the screening next week.
Very exciting. And for people keeping track and they've got their trackers up, getting ready to choose the films they're going to jump in and see. You are screening on the very first day. You're on the Thursday, right?
I
So
should, yeah, because I said next week when we're filming this, but obviously if this comes out later, it's obviously perhaps this week or
yeah,
even today. So yeah, we're screening on the very first night on the Thursday, and we've got an 8:30 slot and Discovery Screen One, and yeah, really really excited.
yeah, it should be really great. It's a great crowd. It will be lovely to see you guys over there. I know it's a flying visit for you because you are back on set, ready to carry on with filming. But let's take this moment to dive in and talk about Grin. We will do no spoilers here, as tempting as it is when you've got lots to talk about in a movie, but
Sure.
premise-wise, you're centered around a curiosity or a board game that people can play, which has ties to a curse and a spirit, which seeks to punish people for their sins. You attract attention of an entity through playing of this board game.
Yeah.
Um, Folks of my genre, traumatized by Jumanji nightmares to this day, will know all too well the feeling of a cursed item like this. Anything else you'd like to add synopsis wise? I know we're treading a very careful tightrope before a
Yeah, no,
spoiler.
no. I think it's at its core, it's about a family that have a really sort of dark past, and it plays out as kind of what happened years and years ago to this family that created this kind of dark mystery, and that kind of unravels throughout the film. But of course, as it's a horror film and it's got lots of gore and action, we've got this demonic figure of Grin that is the kind of Punisher character, the character that comes in and makes them pay for the thing they essentially thought they'd got away with. That's the key. So, love making these sort of films where we've got these characters that are, picked off one by one and, lots of interesting scares and stuff like that. But what was really key for me on this one was trying to come up with a story that it's difficult to say they deserved it because that's a difficult
That's for
one to
you to
say.
decide.
But yeah, it's kind of got that thing of like, okay, they're not just kind of random pickings off. They're not just kind of unmotivated killing. There's something really behind each kill. There's something behind each motivation of the character that he's righting some wrongs that these kind of fairly awful characters thought they'd got away with. So that's the
Yeah, I
kind of
think that's a
driving
really
force of the
nice
film.
way to look at it because it does differentiate itself from things like the huge names in the genre, things like The Ring, where you can argue obviously there's a great deal of trauma that has driven the events there, but effectively you could watch the wrong videotape at the wrong time when you're just
Wrong
sitting
place,
about
wrong
house,
time.
and
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
you cursed,
Sure.
unfortunately for you. Whereas this one, there has to be some culpability, and it is a lot, as you say, about maybe the consequences of someone's actions that you, if you're in a position of privilege or power or you're just careful, you can avoid some of those consequences from traditional means, but maybe not this one.
True, absolutely true. And there's also the kind of factor with this character where if you're not worthy in the character's eyes of the punishment, you also can be spared as well, which is something that, I thought was kind of interesting to this
Yeah.
genre. The idea of, just because you're selected doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the same fate as everybody else.
Yeah, that is a really interesting take on it. Let's talk a little bit, if we can, though, about Grin, it or himself,
Okay.
the character that you get there, because something I will always be keen to celebrate out there, like you've done a tremendous job with pretend things. You did a lot of design of this creature and a lot of practical work in bringing it to
Absolutely.
life.
Yes.
Here as well. How do you go about thinking about and designing this kind of creature? And tell me about the poor soul you've got wrapped
Attached
up
to
in
it.
this look.
Yes, the poor soul inside it is a guy called Lucas Edwards, who I've worked with on previous films, never in a creature role. But he spoke to me on a previous film saying, look, he's something he was really interested in doing, and he'd done some credits here and there on Doctor Who, things like that, kind of getting into that kind of creature world, which is kind of a quite exclusive and kind of small club to get into. But as soon as you get in there, I think there is, quite a lot of work to be had. Robert Strange is someone we worked with on the Jack in the Box series, and he's gone on to do things like he's in a new Johnny Depp Christmas Carol film and stuff like that. So, and Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. Anyway, but the idea with Grin was to put a human, a living, breathing character, an actor inside a costume, inside a mask that we felt was just had a demonic feel, had a slight clown look to it as well. Because to be completely honest with you, we work closely with distributors that kind of say, look, the Jack in the Box series was very popular for them and for us as well. Can you do something like it? So it's kind of a combination of, can we try and keep them happy, but also can we try and bring something fresh to the table? So that's the kind of infused part of it. And the mask itself is created by my dad. Like I said, they were a family company. Jeff Fowler, he comes from an art background, so he's been making props and masks and things for years and years and years. So when I kind of gave him this illustration of this grin character that had kind of a grin shaped eyes and stuff like that, he seemed to really really like it. And before I knew it, he mocked up a kind of 3D model, and yeah, it very, very quickly we had Lucas in for fittings, and before you know it, we've got this living, breathing entity walking around our office, which is quite mad to see. Because it's one of those things that when you don't have these characters lit in the horror setting, it can look a bit kind of larger than life. It looks a bit wild. You know, you've got this kind of guy in a mask walking around a fully lit office. But then there's something about when you put that moonlight through a window and you get the haze up and everything, it can just come to life. So in a really scary way.
Yeah, and you've in your description there, you drew a connection for me that I hadn't myself, I'll be the first to admit. Like brackets complimentary, but it does have a wonderful like Doctor Who energy to it, not just because you're doing principal photography and you're a company and team based in Wales, perhaps a little
Yes.
bit more violent than you will see on the
True. Yeah, yeah.
BBC in his methods, but it does have like I think really that quintessentially the sort of British sci-fi Doctor Who popular
Yeah.
design and lore behind it that, I wouldn't be I wouldn't fall off my chair and surprised to see whoever our next Doctor Who is facing this kind of
This kind of thing,
creature with
yeah.
this background and particularly with, as you explained, this isn't just a monster and if you're the wrong place at the wrong time it gets you, but there has to be some kind of deserved quality to why this is
Sure.
gonna get you. Get on the line, Russell. See
Yeah, I
see what
know.
Lawrence and the team are up to.
I know. Where's that phone ringing? It's just not.
Yeah, it's on a little break for now. When it comes
Yeah,
back,
yeah, yeah.
I
When it comes,
expect to
yeah,
see you.
that's it. We've got designs. We've got people who can make stuff.
And you say you're in the right country. They do so much of their filming as well. I want to dive
Absolutely.
back in though on what it's like for you, particularly as a team. So you've mentioned a family business. You're alongside your wife and your dad there working at it. How is it working with your family day in and day out? I imagine then you spend time with outside of work as well. What's that work
Yeah.
dynamic like?
Well, to be completely honest with you, it kind of blends into one. It's kind of incredible because believe it or not, even my mum's involved with the films as well. She is. It's just such a family business. It's all four of us. Just working on these films, it feels never ending because they actually, as soon as we finish one film, the next film is already starting. So there's this consistent overlap. And in terms of balance, it's tricky because, like I said, they never kind of come to an end, and it's always the main topic of conversation. It's always what we're working on. How is this looking? How is this costume looking? How is this make prosthetic looking? And we'll be having dinner and then we'll get an email about, oh no, something's happened and we need to fix this in pre-production. So it does completely overlap, not always in the most healthy way, but it's absolutely fantastic to work with your family because you know it's complete trust in all of us. We all trust each other incredibly. We all know that no one could put more hours in a day than we possibly can all together. We all have the exact same purpose. We all have the same kind of vision, and we all work together so hard and so well together to bring these things to life on not very big budgets. And I think without that strong family unit, this just wouldn't work.
I guess the only downside there is like you'd never have that potted excuse. I'm so sorry, everyone. It's a family emergency. I'm gonna have to be.
Yeah,
What's this family
we're all
emergency?
here. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, one other thing to check on is how has the creation of this film affected your family game nights? Are board games off the table?
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah. They're much more lit than they used to be. No dark corners. But no, I mean, we like playing a game called Skyjo. Don't know if you're familiar with Skyjo. So there's not many demons kind of running around a game of
Okay, so
Skyjo. So
you're quite safe from there. You want to
not
keep your
quite safe. That's it.
demon free events Jenga only from now on.
Just
That's too stressful though, if I'm honest.
non-creepy wooden board games.
Yeah. I mean, you say that I find Jenga incredibly stressful. I think I might be more comfortable with Grin coming
With Grin. Yeah,
than playing late stage Jenga. It's a
true.
real minefield.
It might be better to be put out of your misery. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Unless unless you've led a blessed sin-free life,
Well, that's it. Yeah,
just be in
that's
for a
it.
chat, wouldn't he?
There you go. There you go. If your conscience is clear, then you're all good.
It is-
Make him a cup of tea.
Wonderful. So we talked about, you mentioned the timing of this, and I really want to applaud you for being very candid about the combination of what is, you know, as a person running a business, both what is your passion, your interest, and what sells. You mentioned you're straight on to the next film. Is that top secret right now? Anything you can tell us
No,
about
no,
that
no, no,
already?
absolutely. It's a basically a horror kind of reimagining of the Legend of Pandora's Box, and we've shot 5 days of it. We're having a little kind of break at the moment while we're doing some prep for some sort of bigger set pieces coming up in the next couple of weeks and the next couple of months. And it essentially tells the story of a guy that discovers the actual Pandora's box, although it's technically meant to be a jar. We reimagine the myth as if it was real. And it's essentially a story about a guy that is faced with the question of who would you sacrifice to remain alive yourself. And we just go into the idea of, how Pandora opened this box and the evils of the world kind of clung to her. And she is desperate to kind of take the evils of the world back out of the world. So, yeah, I haven't really got my elevator pitch down for that one project, and it uses all of the same kind of techniques we love. The person in a costume with an incredible, prosthetic mask and all these incredible things that we love and hope there's, real potential for this to be potentially our best film yet.
Excellent, exciting stuff. I feel like from an entertainment perspective, I think we are. I don't think these things ever truly go away. But meanwhile, like, we've seen a huge resurgence following Terrifier of people liking, I guess, and this is where your distributor thinking like the clown aesthetic has been huge. I love to
Huge,
see how
yes.
these trends really peak. And then I guess what we're seeing a really emergence of, we've seen a wave of, classic storytelling and particularly things which are sort of, I believe they call it the Twisted Childhood series now with, things that have gone into the public domain, the
Sure.
Christian
Yeah,
children's properties. I don't think they've ever truly gone away, but I think we're probably going to see with a huge success of the Odyssey this year. Thank you, Chris. The the looking at these traditional, like really ancient legends and
yes,
stories
Legends of Myth, yes.
about to have a huge resurgence as well. I think we'll see a Cyclops or two
I think
in
so.
horror
As we
cinema
say,
as we're going forward.
absolutely. Yeah, it's a great film. I absolutely love that film, and yeah, it was kind of odd because before I saw the Odyssey, I was kind of inspired by a lot of the kind of old style, ancient kind of, the Greek style of music and all the different kind of lyres, I think they're called, and then the different flutes. And then I saw Odyssey, and I was like, damn, they just basically they've already done it. So a bit of a rethink on the kind of music approach for Pandora because I really kind of wanted to try and be kind of infused by that kind of Greek old feel, but I think it might feel a bit of a rip off of Chris Nolan if I do it now. So, but yeah, yeah, I totally agree. I think there's so many kind of myths and legends to explore, and stories like the Odyssey just kind of bring world of new attention to these things that hopefully we can make stories about.
Yeah, I think it's really exciting to have these stories. I think there's something quite magical about it that we're not only looking at retelling stories that are, it's incredible enough when it's like, hey, this was a film or this was a story that is popular
Yes,
within my lifetime. But now actually to go even further back to go, oh no, this is thousands of years
and it stood the
old.
test of
Like
time.
these
Yeah,
stories are older than countries that exist today, and these are stories that we can then lean into, and we're still inspired to retell in all kinds of genres,
yeah,
new stories of brilliant stuff. But yeah, I
absolutely.
mean, you talked about music just there. So
Yeah.
as a as a family operation, as an independent film producer, how many hats do you find yourself wearing across the family with
So
the productions?
it's kind of a case of with the four of us, we're just a full time team. When we produce a film, we'll still have a crew of like 20 to 30 on set. It's not just like a four of us on set sort of deal. And we do have Christoph Ausdorfer, amazing composer. We worked with him for 7 films now. He did the music on this one, with help of James Griffiths as well. An incredible score for Grin. So we don't wear perhaps as many hats as perhaps I made it sound, but it kind of at its core we're a family business. But then obviously when it comes to production and post and all these things, we have to hire.
It's good as it's a great testament to how you must have grown as a business though. You've got these networks of people like your composers and so on that you can know and you can trust and you can work with. It must be quite a rewarding experience to see, oh, this was a someone who went and learned film at college to then have expanded and be able to work with not only your family but a great network of people, it must be quite a rewarding
Absolutely. Yeah, we
way to
really
see
try
this
and
growing.
work with the same people again and again and again if we can. And, you know, I think it's something I'm proud of that so many of them want to come back every time. Like I say, Christoph has 7 films we work with him. Yeah, and what's really great is there's such a talent pool down here in South Wales that we're really getting the best out of. Christoph, he's based in Austria, so I can't say he's not based in South Wales like many of our crew, but he's just so passionate and so talented. We got him very early on. He was doing kind of trailer spots for things like Star Wars bits and bobs. Really, he still I think he even did a piece of his music was used in one of the Odyssey trailers, I believe. So he's really, really talented and established. And we were just fortunate to just run into him at the right time. He was free, and we were like, "Look, we're making this little film called The Jack in the Box. Do you want to come on board?" And he did a great job, and that film just kind of helped build our business. And I think it helped give him a bit more notoriety in kind of the film scoring side of things rather than just the trailer side. So I think it's just a relationship that works for everybody.
Brilliant. Excellent stuff. I mean, if people are so inclined, they're ready to come and see Grin on Thursday. You've mentioned your other films, Jack in the Box. Are they widely available around the world now? If people wanted to do a little bit of homework before they come and
Yeah,
see Grin, where
yeah.
could they find them?
The Jack in the Box has kind of got a bit of a cult following. There's 3 of them, so they're available on Prime. If you're, it's actually kind of bizarrely much more popular around the world, apart from the UK, which is where we're from, which is a bit of a shame. But in most, you can get DVDs, Blu-rays. It's if you want it, you can usually find it. And yeah, as I said, would love to see you to come down and see the premiere of Grin. If you like kind of clown movies, demonic stories, characters that get their comeuppance, and some really cool kills and gore, I think it's really a film that I hope everyone will enjoy.
Yeah,
Love to see you
I
there.
think those are the exact reasons. If this sounds like your cup of tea, guys, go and check the guys out on Thursday, and then you're around just for the day. So are you doing a Q and A as part of the screening? Do you know
Yeah,
already?
there's a Q&A before and after, so hopefully we can get some of the cast on board as well and answer some questions and have a really really nice time and yeah, talk about the world of Grim.
Sounds very, very exciting. Well, all the very best. Hopefully,
Thank
Lawrence,
you.
I will catch you live and in person. I know Fright Fest can be a bit of a hurricane when
Sure.
you're absolutely down there, but we will do our best. If you see me running around with a microphone looking out of breath, make yourself visible and I'll see if I can dash over and catch you. That'd be really great to catch you after we've had the screening as well. I mean, as a film creator, we've talked about why people would want to see it. For you, what do you hope what do you hope the audience reaction is? What really makes your day if you hear those reactions when you're watching that screening?
The most fun for me is sitting in a crowd of people responding to either a really nicely executed scare moment, and you just feel that energy in the room, um, or when I look over because we've already had sort of a cast and crew screening already just to kind of show the cast and crew of the film, and to look over and see the people that kind of really understood the story and knew where it was going, and I saw a few people actually tearing up at one of the more emotional moments. That was quite nice to see. Actually, I thought it was like, wow, the story is actually hitting home here with some of the more sad elements of the story. So I think those are the 2 things: the scares and people connecting with the emotional beats. That's something as a filmmaker you pour your heart and soul in to get those moments, and to see them kind of sing is a great feeling.
Oh, wonderful. Um, Final couple of questions for you, Lawrence, before I let you go
Yes.
and get on with your day. Number one, very important. Should people be interested in your work and the work that you and the rest of the crew are doing, where are the best places to follow along with you?
So we haven't done as much socials as we should have. We're starting to do a bit more socials, but we have Instagram. That's fowlermedia.film. We're starting to post a lot more. And generally, you can find our work, like I said, on Amazon and things like that, Amazon Prime, and just, yeah, social media tends to be the way we're gonna, try and get our films out there a bit more now.
Yeah, and never apologize for being on
We're just so
Instagram,
busy
Lawrence. You're an
making the films.
example.
Yeah, it's one of those
Yeah,
things that
yeah.
like it's one of those things we make a film, we put it out there, a really big distributor will handle all the promotion, and then it's kind of a weird thing where it's like, well, they get, all the hits and all like, and then it's like, oh well, we don't post it ourselves because we're just so in the zone of making the thing. So now we're trying to do a little bit more social. But yeah, the films I think have a bigger reach than perhaps our social media would indicate.
Oh, well, I think if we can get you a few more people following you along,
There
that's
you go.
always good news. And finally, horror filmmaker as you are, even though you came to it later as a child, so you haven't got to rely on childhood traumas here, but now people will know you as a horror filmmaker. I imagine your friends and family, very difficult for you, I guess, because they're involved in it too. But let's say your friends, they come along and say, Lawrence, you're a horror filmmaker. It's movie night. We're coming round to you to watch a movie. What are you choosing to put on for them?
The film that I saw at college that made me go, wow, this is incredible, is The Shining. That's the one that stuck with me. That's the one where I don't know, I just really kind of there's something about the location, Jack Nicholson's performance. That's the one that I look back and think, wow, that's incredible. And I think if I could have a screening on a big screen, The Shining doesn't get much better than
Great choice. I'm sure you'll see very few arguments against that
that.
choice. Well done. Um, Brilliant. Well, thank you, Lawrence, for spending a little bit of time with me today. Have a
Thank you.
wonderful time at FrightFest. Hopefully, we will see you there. But if
I
not,
hope
I
so.
still hope you have a brilliant time. Everyone, one more time, Grin is going to be screening on the opening on Thursday at FrightFest. At time of recording, Discovery Screen tickets are about to go live tomorrow for people who are pass holders. Individual tickets can already be purchased. If you're hearing this before the screening and this sounds like a film you'd like to go and enjoy, go and see what tickets are still available on a website. If they are available, grab one. If not, and they've sold out, sad for you, great for these guys. So you can be happy either way. Um, Thank you for Taj Easton for our lovely theme music. Thanks for the folks at Acast for hosting the show. I'll be back with more people to chat about more horror movies very soon. But for now, Lawrence and everybody, bye for now.
See you.